7.5 billion people on this planet, but you're here watching me. And guess what? I made this video just for you. Hi friends, it's Leah. Welcome back for a chat and grab a snack. Today we're going to be talking about season, 4 of You, and the first episode. Let's go! It feels like forever since we had a new season of You. I'm glad they did the recap for it, but just in case you need a little reminder of what happened the last season, here it goes. While Joe was starting his new family with the love of his life and his baby boy Henry, he meets the real love of his life. And then his mean old wife said no to his destiny, which scared his real love away. He literally blows up his old life, fakes his death, ditches his baby, and searches for the new love of his life. We're all caught up? Okay. So the first episode of season 4, we have Professor Moore, who is now a literary professor in the class that he's teaching. They're having a heated discussion about what is love and does going after and reaching and doing whatever you can for love, does it make you a morally good person? Of course, our boy Joe, you already know what his answer is love or is nothing. In my head, when I was watching it, I thought Joe looked so nice with his dark curly academia look. Oh my gosh. It's currently my favorite aesthetic right now on Pinterest. It's just scrolling through with all the plaids and the button-ups and the long sleeves, turtlenecks. Ah, I eat it up. Joe is now in London. I'm gonna keep calling him Joe. Fuck that new name. In this new season, Joe is in London, and the way he describes it really makes me want to book a flight, because I like the idea of walkable cities and the architecture in London and the color schemes. I really like it. It's like fall every day in London is what it looks like. After class, Joe is just strolling back to his new spot when this reminiscing about his time with Marianne and how her heartbreak for him taught him how to be a new wise man, a smarter man. Joe lives by a new motto: no love, no people, just books. In this new spot, he has multiple fireplaces, bunch of bookshelves everywhere, and it was provided to him by his colleague named Malcolm. If I was a reader like that, I would feel same, but the only reading I do is manga and webtoon. So in this season, Joe is still kind of idolizing Marianne, and it's funny and a little bit scary with the fact that if Joe actually had his chance with Marianne, his idea of her would just pop so fast, just like everyone else. In Joe's new flat, he has a perfect little peeking Tom view of his neighbors Malcolm and Kate. In the show, he does his whole internet scrub down of the both, and he knows everything about Malcolm, but Kate has a little digital footprint. Throughout the seasons, Joe uses these things it's almost a pattern at this point. As soon as he gets to know you, he does some internet research. It was interesting to see how quick he jumped on his old ways after crying and talking about how he's a new man and stuff. Ridiculous. His interest starts to peak on his new neighbors, Kate and Malcolm. Joe decides the best way to stop his piquing curiosity about this married woman is to get into the business to know what's not to worry about. The best way to stay out of people's business is to know what that business is. As he suppresses his urge for the hunt, he kind of recalls his time with Marianne. At the end of the last season, we saw Joe in, I think it was Paris, following Marianne. He was undercover just stalking this woman. And just the thought of someone traveling overseas to find me is just so terrifying. What? You're talking about lovely?
He must really love her, you know?
Oh, you're crazy, bro.
Come
you're
on,
just
man.
like Joe.
What you mean?
You got that Joe energy.
Nah, bro, come on, don't be like that.
Joe talks about how he searched through art galleries and museums for weeks trying to find just hints of Marianne, but he kept saying every time he went to one place, it just felt like she just left. One day he finds a painting that was using her art style in the park, and the lady that was over the little area just gave out the lady's whole information. I'm talking about, she said, here's her email, and she won't be able to get in contact with you right now because she's on her way to London for this other thing at this other art gallery, but yeah. only a crazy person would travel over to another country, to little London, where, as you know, that's where Joe is right now, in London. He's still on his bullshit. So, we snap back to current Joe, who is now leaving work, and one day he sees Kate about to get mugged by some random people. After reluctantly helping her, you know, she thanks him, drives him home, and then Malcolm pops by later to thank him for, you know, saving his girl, you know. And this is with, you know, Joe not wanting to any relations with these people because you know how he is. He's already got his little print on them. He imprinted on them like Jacob. Malcolm forces Joe to come to this rich people party with him to thank him for saving his girlfriend, or his wife. At the fancy rich people party, he meets a bunch of like influencers and like douchebags. He even meets like an author who made this memoir a student told him about earlier. And he really likes his memoir. He's hanging around all these rich, affluential people, and they're very curious about this random American that's in, you know, chilling in London, hanging out with the rich, right? They get him a little tipsy. They're like, where are you from? What are you doing here? You know, did you kill someone? You know, they're just asking him the basics. One of the girls even mentioned, she said Joe has this look in his eyes like he was either heartbroken or he killed someone. Like, she can just tell. And, I mean, I guess she was right about both things in a sense. So we get another flashback about Joe's interaction with Marianne once, you know, he actually found her. Joe eventually runs into Marianne at some marketplace, but she instantly starts panicking and she runs away. We cut back to sad boy Joe at the party. He's still drinking, blacking in and out, just like spilling his heart out to people. I think the thing he was drinking was called absinthe. I've never heard of it or seen it, but I kind of want to try, so it looked like he was just like just going through it. Just a little bit, you know, can't hurt anyone. Joe is over here being drunk and stuff, still finding a way to blame Marianne instead of touching some grass. He's sitting there in the party just like, look at what you got me doing, Marianne. I'm drunk because of you. If I wasn't so heartbroken, I'd be being a better man. Just like, come on, bro. Take some accountability in yourself. You're weak in the knees. The man is using some A-grade grass touching repellent, not even taking a glimpse and a little taste of reality in his own world. After waking up from blacking out, he notices that he's back in his apartment. He thinks Malcolm probably dropped him off, and he has like a coat on him. He's a little still like out of it. But when he walks into the kitchen, he finds Malcolm's body on the table with the knife plunged right through it. After that whole monologue about changing your life, here we go. And I mean, the way Malcolm is as a person, he is a douchebag. Don't get me wrong. And throughout the party, he was, while Joe was talking about Marianne, Malcolm was just saying, oh, forget that girl. I can get you with plenty of girls. You don't need her. You know how Joe is about his property. So it's just, it almost looked like, dang, Joe, a little alcohol just got you just jumping at people. That's crazy. So Malcolm's on the table, fresh rare meat. But you know what's funny about Joe's initial reaction about seeing Malcolm on the table? He still finds a way to blame Marianne. He goes, he was saying all these mean things about you, babe. If you were here, I would have never done this. He needs to go to accountability prison immediately. Lock him up, throw away the key. I don't want to see him ever again. We didn't even date, my guy. What? Your wife told me all your secrets and I went to another country and you're here still blaming me? He's looking over to see if like what's happening on Kate's side, because you know Malcolm was Kate's boyfriend or something. He peeks over at Kate's side and he sees her talking to the police. He's a little bit worried if she's reporting a body, but it's too soon to be reporting a body, so he probably thinks she's just talking about the mugging, which he asks her to like not mention him because he has a shaky visa. I bet it is shaky, Joe. I mean, Professor Moore, right? Joe decides this is a good time to remove the body. We're thrown into another flashback about his encounter with Marianne. And we get to see a little bit more of the situation that happened. The woman didn't just run away. She was chased through the marketplace, Joe literally chased Marianne to an abandoned building. And then she thinks she's safe. She comes out her hiding place. And Joe's standing there just like, so can we stop playing? Can we talk now? I thought you loved me. And then Marianne's just like, I love men who don't unalive people, Joe. Is that so much sex in 2023? Joe's just like, but I'm not a murderer. I just got rid of a few people, like your boyfriend, my ex-wife, my ex-wife's brother, my ex-girlfriend's, and my ex-ex-girlfriend's boyfriend. Just, you know, a couple people, not a murderer. I'll prove I'm not a murderer. I'll let you leave right now. Joe! I don't know. If anyone told you, like, hey, I'll prove I'm not a robber, won't do it right now, I'm still gonna be like, you're a red flag. But he does let Marianne go. She is free. She runs away. And that's all I was hoping for, bro. I haven't finished the season yet, so I don't know how. Maybe we'll get another flashback of him disposing her body. Who knows, right? So like I mentioned, Joe had to dispose Malcolm's body. He takes him to a sawmill, chop him up like a little Lego piece. There was a man that's been following Joe. The man reveals himself to be a hitman hired by Love's parents to just get rid of him after they realize after Joe and Love blew up in this house, someone took all the money out her bank account and they tracked him down. So the hitman's just like, look, I can legitimize all of your legal papers. You know, you got a new fresh passport. I mean, keep your nose clean, just live life as a normal man. Here, in return, I want all that money you took out of Love's bank account. Deal? The guy said he also saw his little run-in with Marianne, and because she knows that Joe's alive, he needs to go get rid of her too. Later on, Joe runs into that famous author that he really likes, and they were throwing out some good, like, one-liners, bro. Heartbreak is always a catalyst for a new path. And then, I mean, he's not wrong. He's technically right, because, you know, Joe had to take his path all the way to London to find the love of his life. You're fairly deeply damaged. That means you're capable of doing real damage. Like, hurt people, but, like, it just sounds a little bit better. Redemption is possible as long as they commit to never run from themselves. That one, I was like, you're kind of right, because it'd be the people that'd be like, oh, I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I'm not this type of person anymore. I can just get face right through it again, like, and then they go to a bar or they'll go to a party and like relapse, like in BoJack or something. Joe makes his way to the train station to find Marianne. He does run into her again, but instead of killing her, he just snatches a necklace off her neck and makes sure that she got on the train to go home to her daughter. Back at the university, Kate is still like looking for Malcolm. She runs into Joe. She's like, have you seen Malcolm? He was in his office. I think he dropped you off at home last night, right? And he was like, yeah, but then, like, he left. I don't know where he went, but, like, after he dropped me off, he for sure went out that door. She invites Joe to this dinner at her house with these other people. When he arrives at this dinner, he gets a message from this encrypted app saying, dang, boy, I saw what you did to that body, and I was gonna just pin it on you, but the way you handled Malcolm, this ain't new to you, bro. You've been in these streets. So once the killer saw how Joe handled Malcolm, his interest in who this man was peaked. So now both of these killers are looking at each other like Spider-Man, the pointing Spider-Man, just like, you! So it's turned out that one of the guests from that party he went to booted Malcolm from the server. If I had to take a guess at who the killer was, just from the first episode, I would say it was the author that he was talking to or the wife. But the wife is so obvious, like, you can't, it's always the partner, but it's either those two. This new season of You, it kind of reminds me of Knives Out, The Glass Onion. It's like a huge whodunit for, like, rich celebrity people. That's the episode 1 of the new season of You. Is Joe innocent? Who really killed Malcolm? Find out next time on Total Drama Island! If you like what you see here, follow the social medias down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.